This is Meet Sean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Retailers spend like billions of dollars every single year optimizing the exact pixels on your screen.
Oh, absolutely. They track where your mouse hovers. They test which shade of red makes you click faster.
Right. And they employ thousands of engineers for, one single purpose, which is to bypass your brain's logic center.
Yeah, it's almost scary when you think about it.
It really is. I mean, have you ever considered that the rush you feel when you click buy now is just a carefully manufactured chemical reaction?
Because it totally is.
We've all felt that peak of anticipation, right? Only to have the box arrive 2 days later, tear through the packing tape, and just stare at some random gadget thinking, why on earth did I buy this?
Yeah, that phenomenon it's essentially a design feature of modern commerce. It is not a bug in your personal willpower.
That makes me feel a little better, honestly.
Right. You go from this huge dopamine high, the thrill of getting something new crashing straight into a valley of regret. And that's because the system is built to make you act on instinct rather than intent.
Okay, let's unpack this because today's mission is all about hacking that system back.
Yes, exactly.
We are doing a deep dive into a really tactical guide for online shopping from Coconut Publish. It focuses on this framework called the 15-minute product research method.
Which is such a game changer, honestly.
It really is. The goal here is to equip you with a digital toolkit. We're talking, browser extensions, price trackers, and psychological circuit breakers that completely transform you from a passive consumer into an empowered shopper.
I love that. Empowered shopper.
But before we get to the high-tech tools, we kind of have to start with the psychology of it all. Like, if these platforms are spending billions to hack our brains, how do we even begin to fight back?
Well, we start by neutralizing their most effective weapon, which is manufactured urgency.
Oh, the countdown clocks.
Exactly. Every flashing banner, every ticking clock, every tiny line of text that says, only 2 items left in stock.
I fall for that one every time.
We all do. These are triggers designed to spike your cortisol. They introduce the fear of missing out, which temporarily shuts down the analytical part of your brain.
So you just panic buy.
Pretty much.
Right.
But the research from the guide points to a remarkably simple countermeasure for this. You just implement a mandatory 15-minute cooling off period before you ever allow yourself to check out.
A 15-minute timer, just forcing yourself to walk away from the glowing screen in the digital shopping cart.
Yeah, think of it as a circuit breaker for your dopamine loop.
Right.
By physically stepping away or, just closing the tab for a quarter of an hour, you break the spell of that limited time offer. You allow your prefrontal cortex, the logical planning part of your brain, to catch up with your clipping finger.
Which is so important because if we connect this to the bigger picture, this brief pause is like the only way to separate a fleeting, artificially induced want from an actual functional need.
Exactly. It gives you perspective.
Because when we are caught in that loop, we completely lose sight of our actual financial plans. Maybe you were, meticulously saving up for a major family vacation, or you're trying to strategically upgrade your home office so you can work more comfortably.
Yeah, those big goals.
But dropping $40 here and $60 there on impulse buys actively sabotages those long-term goals.
And that is the hidden cost of impulse shopping. I mean, it isn't just the money wasted on the item in front of you, it's the delay it causes to the things that actually bring you long-term fulfillment.
Right.
The 15-minute pause forces you to ask whether this specific purchase aligns with what you truly value. But to make that pause effective, you can't just sit there staring at the wall for 15 minutes.
No, that would be agonizing.
Right. You need a filtering mechanism. Which brings us to the concept of the shopping checklist.
Okay, I found this part of the guide incredibly practical. So before you even open a search bar to look for a product, you have to physically write down your criteria.
Yes, on actual paper, preferably.
And it is strict. You are allowed exactly 3 must-have features and 2 nice-to-have features, no more.
Defining what success looks like before you are exposed to marketing is critical.
Because otherwise you get swayed.
Exactly. If you don't define your parameters, the retailer's glossy marketing page will define them for you. They will convince you that you absolutely need some feature you had never even heard of 5 minutes ago.
I have to admit some serious skepticism here, though. Let's look at the actual time constraint. We're talking about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's fast.
Is a quarter of an hour really enough time to build a list, cross-reference products, check out the reviews, and make a smart financial decision.
I hear you.
It kind of feels a bit like going to a massive grocery store on an empty stomach without a list. You're just setting yourself up to grab digital junk food? Can we honestly do a thorough job vetting a product in 14 minutes and 59 seconds?
It is a really tight constraint, and, well, it's meant to be. The point here isn't to write a doctoral dissertation on a coffee maker, you know.
Fair point.
The strict 15-minute limit is an aggressive filtering mechanism to prevent you from falling down a rabbit hole of endless comparison. I mean, have you ever spent 4 days agonizing over which HDMI cable to buy?
Oh my gosh, yes. Reading hundreds of forums.
Right. Only to realize you've wasted hours of your life to save like $2.
Far more times than I'd like to admit. You just get paralyzed by the sheer volume of choices.
The timer forces efficiency. You check the product against your 3 written must-haves. If you cannot find clear, undeniable evidence that a product meets those 3 criteria within your 15-minute window, the choice is made for you, you walk away.
So the constraint actually liberates you from decision fatigue.
Exactly.
That reframes it perfectly. It isn't about finding the objectively perfect item in the universe. It's about quickly identifying an item that meets your specific baseline needs without, draining your energy.
Yes.
So let's assume I've paused my brain. I've written out my 3 must-haves. I found a product that checks the boxes. Now I have to deal with the price.
The tricky part.
Yeah, because I always feel like those giant red sale banners are playing a trick on me.
They often are. It involves a tactic known as algorithmic dynamic pricing.
Feels intense.
It is. Retailers no longer set a price and just leave it for a year. Prices fluctuate constantly based on the time of day, your browsing cookies, and upcoming sales events.
Well, the price I see might not be the price you see.
Exactly. And a really common strategy is artificially inflating the baseline price of an item just weeks before a major holiday. Then when the sale hits, they just drop the price back down to its normal retail rate.
Wow.
You see a banner screaming 30% off, but you are actually just paying the standard Tuesday afternoon price.
That is deeply manipulative. If the baseline price is constantly moving like that, how on earth is a normal person supposed to know what a good deal actually is?
This is where you have to offload the manual labor to your digital toolkit. You cannot track this in your head. The source material highlights specific browser extensions that expose these pricing games instantly. Tools like CandleCamel, which is specifically for Amazon, or Keepa.
So what actually happens when I install something like Keepa? I'm always a bit hesitant to add random software to my browser.
What's fascinating here is how these tools alter the physical landscape of the web page you are viewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you load a product page, Keepa actively injects a visual line graph directly below the product image. That graph plots the item's pricing history over the last week, month, or even the entire past year.
So you are essentially looking at a stock market chart for a blender.
Exactly.
That acts like X-ray vision. You can see straight through the marketing hype. If the red text says lowest price of the season, but the graph shows it was $20 cheaper just last month, the illusion is completely shattered.
It totally neutralizes the retailer's informational advantage. The anxiety of the limited time only offer disappears when you can visually verify that the item goes on sale for the exact same price, say, every 3rd week of the month.
You regain total control of the transaction timeline. That's huge.
It really is.
And along with historical pricing, there's also the coupon side of things. The guide mentions extensions like Honey for automating that process, right?
Yes, Honey is great for that.
Instead of hunting through spammy coupon websites and trying 20 different expired codes, the extension just rapidly tests them all in the background while you are on the checkout page.
It just removes the friction from saving money. But beyond browser extensions, there's a strategic way to hunt for legitimate, deep discounts, often called flash sales, that never get advertised on the main website.
Oh. Where do you find those?
Brands reserve their best deals for their email newsletters.
Ah, okay. But wait, a pro tip from the text actually addresses this. Because if the goal is to reduce impulse buying, doesn't signing up for a dozen brand newsletters just invite 1,000 new psychological triggers straight into my inbox?
Yes.
Like I'm trying to pause my dopamine loop, not subscribe to a daily dose of it?
That is a very real danger, which is why the strategy requires a structural firewall. You never use your personal or work email for commerce.
Right, the burner email.
You create a dedicated burner email address, a completely separate account that exists solely for shopping accounts and newsletters.
I see the logic there. You are isolating the noise. My main inbox stays quiet and focused on my actual life, and all the aggressive marketing goes to an inbox that I only check when I've actively decided it is time to shop.
Exactly. You are dictating the terms of engagement. When you are ready to make a planned purchase, you log into the burner account, search for the brand, and retrieve the 20% off welcome code.
And when you're done, you close it.
You protect your daily cognitive load.
Okay, we are making serious progress on our 15-minute timer. We've bypassed the emotional impulse, we've matched the product to our strict checklist, and we've used the Keepa graph to guarantee we aren't falling for a fake sale. But securing a historically low price means absolutely nothing if the product turns out to be made of cheap garbage that breaks in a week. And when I'm looking at these product pages, the photos are always flawless. The lighting is perfect. The angles are stunning.
Well, marketing photography is an exercise in deception.
Truly.
They use professional studio lighting, color grading, and careful staging to make a $20 particle board desk look like a piece of high-end artisan furniture. You just cannot trust your eyes when looking at promotional images.
I was hoping you'd say that because here's where it gets really interesting in the deep dive. How do we find the truth?
Right.
There is a brilliant concept here. Functional specifications act as the ultimate truth serum. The marketing copy might describe a coffee table as luxurious and durable, but the specifications section doesn't have room for poetry. It just says materials, MDF, and plastic veneer.
Specifications are the raw data of the product. They strip away the emotional language. When you are evaluating an item, especially appliances or electronics, you must train yourself to scroll past the glossy headers and go straight to the spec sheet.
Let's use the blender example from the text. It is so easy to choose the one that comes in a beautiful matte sage green that will look incredible on the kitchen counter.
Oh, for sure.
But the paint color has nothing to do with making a smoothie.
No, it doesn't. If you are looking at the specs for that blender, you are looking for the motor wattage to understand its actual power. And more importantly, you are looking at the materials used in the high-stress areas.
Like the blades and gears.
Exactly. Are the internal gears that connect the blade to the motor made of high-grade steel, or are they molded plastic? Because plastic gears will strip and fail under a heavy load no matter how beautiful the exterior housing is.
And there's a massive warning sign to watch for here. Omission. If a manufacturer's spec sheet just says durable construction or premium materials, but actively refuses to name the specific metal, wood, or fabric used, you have to assume the worst.
Companies that use premium materials like solid oak, top grain leather, or aircraft-grade aluminum feature those facts prominently because those materials cost them more to manufacture.
Makes sense.
If the material is vaguely described, it is almost certainly a cheap composite they are trying to hide.
Even with good specs, though, I still don't know what it's like to actually live with the product. Like the specs tell me it's made of steel, but they don't tell me if the handle digs into my hand awkwardly.
True.
For that, we have to rely on user reviews. But navigating an Amazon page with 15,000 reviews feels impossible.
This raises an important question. How do we extract genuine signal from all that noise, especially when we know that a significant percentage of those reviews are completely fabricated?
Fake reviews are a massive industry. How do these manipulation farms actually operate, and how do we spot them?
There are a few distinct patterns. Often, a seller will pay a click farm to flood their product with 5-star ratings just to boost it in the search algorithm.
Sneaky.
Because these are generated by bots or paid workers who have never touched the product, the language is incredibly shallow. You will see clusters of reviews that just say, best product ever, works great, or highly recommend with zero context.
It sounds like a machine wrote it because a machine did.
Exactly. Furthermore, you want to look at the timeline. If a product has been sitting there for 8 months with a mediocre 3-star average and then suddenly receives 60 flawless 5-star reviews over a single holiday weekend,
Massive red flag.
that data has been manipulated.
So what does a genuine review actually look like?
You are looking for the person who actually wore the boots in the rain.
Oh, I like that analogy.
A real human being will provide highly specific contextual details about how the item integrated into their messy daily life. They will mention that the boots kept their feet dry during a 2-mile commute in Seattle, but they might also mention that the laces are a bit too slippery and come untied.
Genuine reviews possess nuance. They rarely describe absolute perfection.
And when looking at those minor complaints, the strategy is to look for overarching trends, right? Not just one angry person whose box was dented by the delivery driver.
Yeah, you have to discard the outliers.
Yeah.
A single bad review about a zipper breaking on a backpack could just be a manufacturing fluke.
Right.
But if you read 20 different detailed reviews from people in different states, and 8 of them mention that the main zipper derailed after a month of heavy use,
Then you've identified a fundamental design flaw. You are using the aggregate suffering of previous buyers to protect your own wallet.
I love that. But even with written reviews, I still struggle with visualizing the actual product. A lot of times, something arrives and it is way smaller than I imagined, or the color is totally off.
That brings us to the ultimate reality check. The text reviews on the retailer site are a good starting point, but the visual proof lies elsewhere. You have to seek out user-generated content.
Okay, so we're talking about finding the product on YouTube, searching for it on Reddit, or looking for TikTok unboxing videos.
Exactly where the staging is removed. A studio photograph doesn't convey the true scale of a sofa, but a poorly lit, slightly blurry smartphone video shot by a customer in a standard, cluttered living room.
That shows you the truth.
It shows you how big that sofa actually is compared to a normal coffee table. It shows you what that mustard yellow sweater looks like under harsh fluorescent kitchen lights rather than professional golden hour staging.
It strips away all the glamorous art direction and forces the product into the real world. Okay, so let's check the clock.
Tick-tock.
Our 15-minute timer is almost up. We've defeated the impulse, verified the specs, filtered out the bot reviews, and watched a shaky video of a guy using the blender in his kitchen. The product is solid. The price is historically low. Is it finally time to click buy?
Not quite. The final critical step is vetting the entity that is actually taking your money.
Oh, right, the seller.
Because a phenomenal, historically low price on a high-quality Metal Gear blender is completely irrelevant if the seller is a scam artist operating out of a basement who is never going to ship you the box.
The internet is full of drop-shipping storefronts that pop up on Tuesday and vanish by Friday. How do we vet the seller in our final minutes?
You look for the structural red flags of a temporary operation. A legitimate retailer invests in their infrastructure. If you are on an unfamiliar website, click on their About Us or Contact pages.
What are we looking for?
If the links are broken or if the pages are filled with glaring grammatical errors and placeholder text that was clearly generated by AI, you are likely looking at a scam.
The payment gateway is a huge tell, too.
It is the most important tell. Standard credit card processors offer robust chargeback protections for the consumer. If you don't get your item, your bank refunds you and penalizes the seller. Scammers want to avoid this at all costs.
So how do they ask you to pay?
If a retailer asks you to pay for a standard consumer good using a direct wire transfer, a third-party peer-to-peer app, or cryptocurrency, you must close the tab immediately. Those methods are essentially untraceable cash handoff.
Wow. Good to know. You also want to look for a physical address and a working customer service phone number or email, right?
Absolutely.
If an entity is entirely hiding their physical location, they don't want to be found when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And if you are still on the fence about a retailer's legitimacy, you can outsource the background check.
Yes, by using third-party verification sites like Trustpilot.
Oh, I've used them.
And you aren't just looking at their star rating there. You are looking for specific patterns in how they handle failure. Do they ship on time? When a package inevitably gets lost in transit, does their customer service team fix the problem, or do they completely ghost the buyer?
Now, running this gauntlet makes total sense for a $100 pair of shoes or a kitchen appliance. But what happens when we scale this up?
Big purchase.
Yeah, we are talking about high-value items, a $2,000 laptop, a major home appliance, or a piece of luxury furniture. Does the 15-minute method still hold up?
The core methodology remains exactly the same, but the stakes of your checklist increase significantly. When you are making a major financial investment, you aren't just buying the physical item for today, you are buying its entire life cycle.
So for a major home appliance like a refrigerator or a washing machine, what gets added to the must-have list?
The first edition is a comprehensive multi-year warranty, a minimum of 2 years covering both parts and labor.
Makes sense.
The warranty is a financial metric of the manufacturer's confidence in their own engineering. If a company is only willing to guarantee a $2,000 machine for 6 months, they are telling you precisely how long they expect those internal components to last before failing.
Yikes. You also have to factor in the hidden ongoing costs of ownership.
Which is why energy efficiency ratings become critical. A budget air conditioning unit might be $300 cheaper up front, but if it draws twice the electricity of a more efficient model, it will end up costing you significantly more over a 5-year period. You have to calculate the total cost of ownership, not just the sticker price.
Right. And for high-end tech gadgets, there is an entirely invisible layer you have to verify: the software.
A beautifully designed smartphone or smart TV is essentially a brook without current software. You have to check the manufacturer's stated lifecycle support.
How long will they actually update it?
Exactly. Will this device receive operating system updates and security patches for 3, 4, or 5 years? If a company abandons software support after 18 months, the hardware becomes dangerously obsolete, regardless of how good the specs are.
So what does this all mean for us? When we pull back and look at the entirety of this 15-minute framework, it is offering a complete paradigm shift in how we interact with digital commerce.
It really is.
By setting a literal physical timer to break the dopamine loop, insisting on the truth serum of functional specs, deploying extensions to X-ray the pricing algorithms, finding the genuine boots in the rain reviews, and rigorously vetting the seller's payment methods, you fundamentally change the power dynamic.
You take the power back.
Exactly. You transform from a passive consumer, a target constantly reacting to psychological triggers, into a highly empowered strategic operator. It shifts the entire focus from thoughtlessly acquiring more stuff to intentionally investing your resources in genuine, lasting value.
The transformation from passive to active is profound, and it leaves us with a really provocative concept to consider as we wrap up today.
Oh.
We've established that the internet's architecture is explicitly designed to train our brains for instant gratification, turning us into reactive clickers. We also know that forcing a simple 15-minute circuit breaker completely rewires that behavior and protects our wallets.
Right.
So what other areas of our hyper-connected lives are suffering from that exact same lack of a buffer?
Wow. That is a fascinating thread to pull.
Think about the news media we consume and instantly share without verifying, or the emotionally charged emails we fire off to a colleague when we are stressed.
Oh, I am definitely guilty of that.
If a 15-minute pause can save us from financial regret, it is highly likely that deploying that exact same cooling off period before we share an article or hit send on a message could save our peace of mind and our relationships in a dozen different ways.
A 15-minute firewall between stimulus and response, that is something I am definitely going to be implementing.
Me too.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. The next time you feel that sudden, overwhelming urge to click buy now, we challenge you to step away, set a timer for 15 minutes, pull up your criteria, and run the gauntlet. You might just find that the next time a package arrives at your door, the only thing you feel when you open it is absolute satisfaction.
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.